Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Heal Yourself podcast. And today you got Kira and Denise, and we're talking about being wrong, being okay with not
I
knowing.
know.
I don't know what we're going to title this episode, but I feel
We'll
like it
figure
needs
it
to
out.
be, well, I feel like it needs to be talked about because so many people are stuck with, okay, what's right? But what if being wrong was like a piece of your growth? And nobody wants to question whether they're wrong. It's like social media, everything is so toxic right now. That's not healing. Like, healing is
No.
saying, I know nothing and being okay with it.
Right. And being a learner. And the thing is, maybe like not also like another piece that we can add in about, being wrong. It could be also the being open to learning what you don't know, right? So for example, I always give the example of I was the school SLP for the longest time. So school SLP, you work with kiddos that are 5 years old up to, elementary, it's gonna what, like 10, 11,
Hmm.
something like that. And then you have middle and high school. So that's what I use. I'm used to. But when I started my business, the private clients I started receiving are the littles, like 3 year old, 2 year old, 4 years old. And they're not the same. A 3 year old is not the same as a 5 year old, right? Not even a four. And like even fours and fives are different. That 1 year makes a big difference. And I was like, I instead of closing myself to the things that I know, I told myself no. I started taking, more conferences. I attended more online conferences regarding pediatrics, the littles, and just being open to learning from them. What do they need? Because I was in the like, okay, let's do that with elementary. I can do so much, but with the littles, I'm like, we gotta play. I need to integrate, the goals and stuff in play. But I did not close myself to like, well, I was a school SLP for 17 years. You 4 year old, you 2 year old, you better work my plan. It's like they look at me like, no. So being open helped me learn a lot instead of having to like I always give the example like because now I work with puzzles with the kiddos, and then it's like trying to fit the oval in the square, and it's not gonna work, right? So
Yeah.
just being open.
And that's the thing, like, not knowing, being wrong, to me, that allows us to be open, right? Like, we
Yeah.
seem to be in a society right now that wants to have certainty, that wants to have, well, I'm right and you're wrong. And, we've got these experts everywhere on Instagram and all these places around everything, not just health. What if we started to look at what if nothing I know is right? What if I don't know the answer? Like what you're saying about kid, like what if I don't know? Okay, great. There's that curiosity. There's that being open to learning more. And I feel like as a culture, as a society, we are stuck. We are stuck in a I don't want to be open. I don't want to know more. Nope, nope, I can't be wrong. And I know everything.
And then we
There's
shut ourselves. It's kind of like the topic about religion that you and I talked about as
yeah.
well, right? So you and I grew up in, with Catholicism, with Christianity, and I know for myself, girl, I'm Lebanese, I'm Middle Eastern, right? And I grew up in the war, so I shut down to a lot of like the Jewish religion. I didn't know anything about it or whatever until recently. I started listening to Kathy Heller, and she's talking about Kabbalah, and I was like, oh my God, that's like so awesome. And I follow another guy, and I think I learned about him from her podcast, David Guillaume, and he talks a lot about Kabbalah. So now I'm like, wait a minute, I want to learn more about this mystic. I think it's
Hmm.
called it's not Judaism, or it's like the mystic Judaism or something like that, Kabbalah. And I just got a book on my Kindle after I finished my book club book. Behind closed doors. Oh my gosh, that's a big thriller. Like, ooh, ooh, ooh. I was on edge. But anyway, so I started listening. I started not listening, reading. And I'm only on like the third or fourth page. But my old self, the old Denise girl, no,
Yeah.
she would not have picked up that book because of like, ooh, I don't identify I don't understand them. I don't, but because I am open to learning, and I feel no matter how old you are and the experience that you have, and also like being wrong, because I was under the impression like Catholicism is it. Like if you,
Yeah.
I used to think that like, oh my goodness,
Same.
people don't take communion every
Yeah.
Sunday.
These poor people are all going to hell.
I know. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh my goodness, what's gonna happen to them? You know, I know. Thinking about it now, it's like, ooh. I'm like, I don't want to. It's cringe right now, like my
I know.
daughter says. But so it's just also being wrong about the idea
Yeah.
that, and I feel this is what we always talk about, right? Questioning the
Hmm.
beliefs, wondering about those beliefs. I'm not saying throw them in the trash, but readjust, maybe recalibrate.
Yeah. And again, it goes back to questioning, or even if you ask yourself, what if I'm wrong? What does this mean? Because we're creating meaning all the time. And if you're going into a situation, right, like I'm thinking politics right now because that's all I see all
Absolutely.
over
You
my
can give
feed.
those examples. I'll give other examples.
Yeah, but that's just all that's over. Like, I'm so over it, but it's all over my feed. And it's like, okay, but you have a belief. Maybe question where that belief came from. Question if it's 100% truth or if you're accepting things that are being seen on media, social media, whatever, as face value. And what if you're wrong? Like, I have no problem being wrong in my beliefs. I don't think I used to, right? Like,
Right. Well, it's a
beliefs around,
practice.
yeah,
Just
it
like we always
is.
say, yeah,
It
practice.
is. But that's the thing. If the whole world would pause and just say, what if everything I believe is wrong? What if I know nothing? The
Absolutely.
amount of healing that could happen would be unbelievable. And spiritual healing, physical healing, right? Like I always go back to health. What if you know nothing? Right? Like
Absolutely.
even to my other, fellow practitioners, I used to be that, oh my gosh, I have to have the right protocol. And what if I can't help this person? What if I can do it? I know nothing. I am here to serve you, and what comes to me will come to me, right? You guys will hear us talk about intuition on an upcoming episode. But going into it with I know nothing takes pressure off and it allows for that openness, as you said.
Absolutely. I really love that. I know that the intuition, I know we recorded yesterday with her, but that
Mhm.
brought up a lot for me. And and just yeah, like being wrong. Like yesterday I gave you the example of I don't want to give politics examples, honestly, because I'm really,
You're like
really
me, I'm over
saying
it. Like,
I'm saying I'm over it, especially Candace Owens. I'm like, dude,
oh, I
like
haven't
she's
seen anything there,
becoming.
but
I've been seeing some of this stuff and I'm like, I'm gonna unfollow because I used to love her. And I'm like, dude, like I didn't see her go to his memorial, but what you are here trying to like, I was like, I can't do that. Like, I'm just, no, thank you. Like, stop it. Uh, I know some of the stuff that she's saying. I'm like, are you for real? Like, can you listen to yourself? Like, do you listen to yourself sometimes? But whatever. Not just her, so many people. Like I think sometimes if these people go back and listen to themselves, maybe
yeah.
I don't know. If you are stuck in the like, I know I'm right, nothing's gonna happen. But and I give you the example, like even with my 14-year-old, you know that I mean a lot of the listeners know that I am going through a divorce, and I was talking with my daughter about something, and she was like, well. She mentioned that there's always two sides of the story, like both of you, blah blah blah, and then instead of like, so I became a little defensive like for a quick second, and then I dropped that defensiveness because now my awareness is way much louder than my ego. And I was like, you know what? Yes, absolutely. There's always two sides of the story. I know I'm contributing as well. And then we had the interview yesterday with our intuition expert. I don't know, what was her title?
I don't know what her title is.
Well, I mean, we have to go back to the episode, and the episode will release eventually. We don't know when, so don't hold us to that. And then we were talking about it, and I was like, wait a minute. So if I'm not right, if I'm right, like no, I am wrong because she's right. I am contributing. There's always two sides of the story, and no matter what, and I am contributing as well to the difficult situation. So instead of going to the defensiveness and trying to prove myself or defend myself, I went for a walk, etc., and I understood her point of view, right? And that is a 14-year-old, right? So even though I didn't
Hmm.
say, well, excuse me, ma'am, I know I'm right, and I went on, on a rant I shared with you, and you're like, wow, that's wise of a 14-year-old, which is
Mm-hmm.
absolutely because she's, and then again, right? What I mean, if we're gonna go back to Jesus, what does Jesus say? Go back to being a child in order to enter the kingdom of heaven. Being a child is curious, being a
Mm-hmm.
child is always wondering,
Pure.
being a child is pure, not really stuck in your beliefs.
Mm-hmm.
So, I definitely took that advice and I was like, I could be wrong. And I wonder what this is teaching me, and da da da. And I went and I journaled and I did my own thing and I felt more at peace. And that's what we always talk about, is that we are humans, we are spiritual beings having human experience, and we have those all humans emotions and humans everything, but we can turn the volume up on our awareness in order to get on that, to continue on the healing journey, right? So it's always practice. I don't know how else to say it other. I feel like we are,
Broken
what do you
records.
call
We
it?
are. That's
We're
fine.
broken, but it's just it's
It's true. Yeah. Well, and my thing is, we cannot heal if we're always right. So, like, I want to give multiple examples here, right? Like, you're talking about a relationship. If you're always right and the other person is always wrong, what is accomplished in that relationship or separation of relate? Like, nothing is accomplished. I look at diets, right? Like being in the health space, you've got people that are arguing that carnivore is right. I saw somebody the other day talking about veganism is the only way because if you have rotting flesh, no joke, if you have rotting flesh in your body, you are less close to, how did she word it? Like, you are not one with God or the universe, however.
rotting flesh. Lakshmi doesn't cook food.
And she's meaning, and if you eat animals, it is rotting. That's how she worded it. If you eat animals, it is rotting flesh, and you are not a spiritual being, however she worded it, But like, we have all of these different camps, even just with diet, of no, I'm right. And it's like, but what if you're not? Why can't you be okay with saying, what if this is completely wrong? Because if you're after healing, and I'm just talking physical healing right now, but you are dead set on your way is right and you're a vegan or you're a carnivore and you're not moving, okay, how are you going to heal then? Because you're just saying, I'm right, but this isn't serving me? Or everybody needs to do this one way because I think it's right? What makes you right then? And then we can go into the politics and everything else. You cannot heal if you always think you're right. Start to question everything and start to look at it in reverse of what if I'm wrong? Because
What if I'm
again,
wrong?
coming back
I
to your
love that.
point,
But that's also turning the volume down on the ego, because the ego
it
doesn't think
is.
wrong, right? But when you say, what if I'm wrong? I love that advice. I love this tip. This is the tip that you need to take today from today's episode, is saying, training yourself to saying,
Hmm.
what if I'm wrong?
Yeah, because
Would
that's
that
where,
be, would that, oh,
no, it doesn't need to be a negative thing, but that's where the curiosity comes from. That's where the growth comes from. That's where the healing comes from. And like you said, the being open, right? We cannot stay stuck. Otherwise, we can't heal if we stay in the same place. We have to
absolutely.
evolve
Yeah.
in every aspect of our life. And the only way to get there is to start to question things and say, well, what if I'm wrong?
Yeah.
Because what
And I
might
love
open up for you?
And I loved yesterday our talk. She mentioned something, I wonder. So if you don't want to say what if I'm
Hmm.
wrong, you can say, I wonder if I'm wrong. I
Yeah.
wonder if I'm wrong. Or I wonder if this belief that I, heard for 20 years is wrong. Right? Like I had a therapy
Hmm.
session and I did tell him, I feel that. He's like, this is not a feeling, this is a belief. I was like, okay, you're right. And then we started the role play, and then he would ask me like, what is the evidence? I was like, I don't know. Like I was trying to like freaking find evidence. There was no evidence. Like no evidence. So again, like, what if I'm wrong? Or I wonder if I'm wrong, or I've carried this belief for so many years, but where's the evidence? Where is the evidence? This is what if I can be open? I wonder if I can be open to this idea. I wonder if I can be open to blah blah blah. And I remember when I started my health journey, I was attracted to the raw movement,
I remember. Yeah.
And some people are still, I mean, some people that I follow, like Fully Raw Christina, is still
Hmm.
supposedly fully raw. I don't know what happens behind closed doors, but that's what she said. So, and that's working for her. Great, but a lot of people that I followed that were doing that switched to other things.
Hmm.
So, and we go back to the diet, same thing. It's like anything, diet, relationships, I mean, finances, everything,
Yeah,
everything. Question those beliefs and be open to learning. And life is a whole thing of learning right now.
it
But
is.
tune in. But also, yeah, we want to tune in because sometimes it gets too noisy,
There's
right?
there's a lot of noise out there. And that, I mean, that goes back to the, even just the food space again of like, okay. And this also goes back to what you and I have talked about is coaching yourself, learning how to coach
Mm,
yourself. That's how you grow. When you ask the question, I wonder if I'm wrong, or am I wrong, or what if I'm wrong, or however you want to word it, that's you coaching yourself of, okay, let's say I am wrong. Well, what does this mean? How does this change things for me? How does this help me evolve? How does this make me a better person? Because that's healing. That's what we should always be after, becoming a better version of ourselves in health and in all aspects. And if we're always saying, no, I know, I'm right, this is it, or even you, no, this diet is always, how do you know it's always right for you? And you're really going to say this one thing is right for every single person?
no, I mean,
Or
you
the
can't.
one thing you read on social media that one person said that makes them did you know them personally? Or are you taking things for face value? Like there's so many
Yeah,
ways we
yeah.
could take this.
Yeah, no, yeah, no, it's just like I be curious. That's all I mean, we
Hmm.
keep going back to the whole being curious and then just always wanting what's better for you. And what's better for you is continuing to learn and then honoring the seasons that you go through. You know what I mean? Like, honoring the part of the journey, right? Like your 20s are different than your 30s, your 30s are different than your 40s, et cetera, et cetera. And just we honor that. And because sometimes I tend to go back and say, and we've talked about it, like, oh my goodness, like, why didn't I do this earlier? Or why or whatever it is, with whatever, not just
Hmm.
with relationship, but sometimes finances or this or that. But that's part of my journey and that's part of my soul's journey as well. So I also want to honor this season of my life. I don't want to, I don't know where I'm going with this, but it's just being like we I repeat this all the time, and I know this is a reminder for myself, being graceful with you. And I heard it on the episode with Kathy Heller and the rabbi she interviewed. Don't dwell on the mistake. You made the mistake, you're not the mistake,
Yeah.
right? So whatever it is in your life, like, I made the mistake. I'm not the mistake. I want what's, better and moving forward. And being open, that's where you learn the most. Because just like the kiddos with on the spectrum, right? What do we teach them? To be flexible. Because when you are not flexible, you have the rock brain, you're not learning, right? But when you don't have that rock brain, when you are flexible, you are learning, you are absorbing what's around you. So this is just, yeah, being okay with being wrong and admitting. Sometimes saying I'm wrong feels liberating,
Hmm.
instead of the shackles of defending ourselves. And oh my goodness, like right now, Kira, whenever I hear people defending, it's like it just kind of like
I know.
irritates my ears. Like
Yeah.
I was talking to this one lady. I mean, you're a principal of a preschool, dude. And this lady already like told me 4 freaking jobs she did because every time I say something, oh, yeah, I did that. And I was like, dude, like you worked so many jobs and good for you, I guess. But it's like, please don't be defensive. I'm here to help the child. Like, I'm not here
Yeah.
to listen. So that's why sometimes when people say, I'm sorry, I'm like, don't be. It's fine. Let's just move on.
Hmm.
So,
And that's just the state of society right now. People don't want to question. They don't want to be okay being wrong. And that's something to also question is why is there fear around being wrong? Like, what does that
yeah.
even mean to be wrong? Because we're all wrong and we all know nothing. Like, I always come back to we know nothing. We don't know why we're here. We don't know what happens when we die. We don't know what happens tomorrow. We know nothing. I know I'm
Just be
sitting
open.
here right now in this moment. That's the only thing I know.
Absolutely. The present moment is the only one, and just live your life moment by moment because that is what I mean. Of course, dream and I get it,
Hmm.
but don't dwell on the past or on the future because your life is happening in the now, and that's what we've talked about. We always talk about as well, and like the whole Tylenol thing. I'm like, dude,
Oh, don't even get me started.
what are you trying to prove? Like, okay, they said something you don't agree with. Great,
Again, they don't
fine,
want to be wrong. That's what it is.
yeah.
That's
Like
it.
it's just like it is literally like with the videos that I'm seeing. Oy, oy, oy.
Yeah. We won't
Or
go
like,
down that road, guys. But again, just
oh
start.
no, but I know I loved how the story that you posted expired, but I loved what you posted, which was great. So
Yeah.
about it, but yeah, just being okay with uncertainty. I don't
Hmm.
know what's going to happen, and I'm fine with it, and I'm here for the ride,
Yeah.
enjoying it. Enjoy, like it up. You're here to constantly become the better version of yourself, moment by moment, right? You're not the
Mhm.
mistake. So let's say this moment was whatever. Let's strive for the next moment, and the next moment, and the next one, and that's how you turn up the volume on. You tune in to your divinity and you tune down to the ego. We're not disrespecting the ego, it's there to help us survive. We get that in survival moments, but right now we're not in survival moments, right?
No.
So, and the body, remember, the body does not differentiate between the thought of the fear or the actual fear. It's
Yeah.
reacting the same way. So be gentle with the body and yeah, oh my goodness, we're going so much with this. I love that.
So yeah,
What does it
guys,
take away?
I mean, start to ask yourself, however you
Yeah,
want to word it. What if I don't know? What if I'm wrong?
yeah,
Um, and see where it takes you. That's the thing.
yeah.
We have these episodes to get you guys to think, right?
Yes,
Again, we Denise and I, we don't know anything. We're here, we're showing up, we're serving, we're on our own journeys, but
absolutely.
the goal is for you to start to evolve and have some things where it's like, huh, I didn't think about that. And then see where it takes you. That's it.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Absolutely. And yeah, thank you for mentioning that because yeah, we don't know. We really don't know. We
Yeah.
don't know where we're going. We don't know what we're doing. And we sometimes, don't have, we just have a topic. That's it.
We
And we
show up
sit
and we
down and we hit
serve.
record. Yeah, we show up and we serve, we hit record and we just let it take us where it takes us. And it always takes us where it takes us.
Yeah. Where it needs to go, apparently.
I know. All righty. Time to end our
Yeah.
episode.
All right, guys. You know it. I mean, we say it every time. A broken record again. Leave us a review, comment on our Instagram. We know we're slacking on there, but we're there. We check. So shoot us a message.
We
Let
are
us know if
also
there's
on
a topic.
TikTok right now. We're
Okay.
on
Yes.
TikTok. I should send you the handle so we can add it to the show note
Okay.
because, yeah, we're on TikTok. So we definitely would love the TikTok follows and love.
Yep.
And we are still working on our secret project. But
We
again,
are.
homeschooling and me going through with all of this and also still working and on my business. Yeah, but it's coming. It's coming.
It is. All right, guys. We'll see you on the next episode.